Hey, my name is Matthew Imhoff. I am the Scenic Designer and Technical Director for SSTI. I'm so excited to be designing Oklahoma again here with SSTI. I think whatever show I do here, we have a tendency to come up with big ideas, and our creative teams kind of run with those ideas, and our shops and technicians and scenic painters and props artisans and carpenters and lighting designers all find a way to make those really magical and feel something brand new for our audiences. We wanted something that felt a little bit darker, a little more intimate, a little bit just a different view of this classic American musical. So I took this design that I had worked on in 2015, and I'd kind of been in my back pocket, something I wanted to revisit, ideas that I had. We've added a second level to the barn. It's much more expansive, it feels infinite. And then we have this little surprise for the ballet that I'm going to tease you with, but this barn breaks away in a really exciting way that shows the expanse of life, that shows the expanse of the Oklahoma prairie in 1906. So I'm excited for all of our Ollie friends to come visit our performances and see that little trick here. We made the transition over to Beaufort High School. The orchestra pit isn't the same. It's not as deep. It's much significantly smaller than what we had at Hilton Head. So we needed to look at our season a little bit differently in how we incorporated our live orchestra into these productions. If you saw our first show, All Shook Up, you saw our wonderful band up on a platform 40 feet across the stage. And that worked wonderful for that show. But looking at Oklahoma being a little bit more of a period piece where some of these instruments didn't exist, we needed to come up with a different plan for our orchestra. After some discussion and some kind of brainstorming with our sound department and our conductor, we ended up with a plan where we built actually a small room in our backstage right area. Now, of course, this isn't how this room was intended or the theater was intended, so we had to do some modifications for it in terms of soundproofing, in terms of acoustical balance in that room. We were against cinder block and metal doors, so we ended up having to add in carpeting to that part of the stage. We added in acoustical panels against the wall, different fabrics to absorb all of that sound so that what our microphones can pick up is the true sound of those instruments without a whole lot of extra bounce and reflection and reverb there.
My name is Andrew Austin, and I am the music director here at SSTI, and this is my 11th or 12th year here. I think this is my 21st show for the company. I think the biggest challenge for high school students now is that a lot of the musicals that come out are pop musicals. So they're used to that sound, they're used to listening to it on the radio, and they're used to producing that kind of sound. But when you get a show like Oklahoma, which was written in 1943, you have a more what we call legit sound, which means there are sopranos using the head voice and that there's not a lot of rock pop riffs and things like that. So what I tried to do was start out by doing kind of basic vocal technique to try to get them into the headspace of how to use their bodies to sing in a different way and also produce a different kind of sound. I used some techniques by this choral director named Robert Shaw, who was a great choir director of the 20th century, and it got them all kind of aligned in the same space and also gave me a language to be able to talk to them about how to produce the different sound. I've been conducting a long time, and I've had to conduct in various different places depending on what the show is. Here at SSTI, I think this is the third time that we have been backstage, and so it was really a privilege and really nice of the set designer to decide to build us a structure backstage. The hardest part about it is that you never quite get the power, I feel, of like an orchestra being in your face. So that's something that the sound designer Lindsay and I have talked about a lot, about how to kind of get that feeling of a live orchestra, even though we're backstage behind everybody.
Hello, my name is Marissa Myers and I am the choreographer of Oklahoma. I spent the past 2 summers here as associate choreographer. I worked with Jacob Brent, we did Gypsy and Anything Goes, and this summer I am choreographing along with Jenn Colella, who's directing, and I am so grateful that I've spent the past 2 summers here to kind of learn what the process of SSTI is. It's a very fast process, so when I would come as an associate, I would kind of show up and do whatever my choreographer needed me to do. And then stepping into the choreographer role, I had to be a lot more prepared. So in New York City, which is where I live, I had my friends all come to a studio and I did some choreography with them to kind of figure out the minor things that I wanted to kind of fix before I got here. And so I had a blueprint of all of the especially big musical numbers so that I wasn't just coming in blind. I had an idea of what needed to happen, and then I taught the students and the performers, and then I edited what I needed to edit from there. Dance is a big part of Oklahoma. It is one of the first musicals to feature Dream Ballet, which I was very excited to choreograph and work with whenever I found out we were doing Oklahoma. And then once we got here, we kind of hit the ground running. We got places, we got partners. We're doing a lot of partnering, which is new for a lot of our performers. So I kind of explained, it's very physical. You have to think about where your muscles are engaged and where you're positioning your arms so that all of the partnering is successful. There's really big musical numbers in this show, which is super exciting. So just kind of putting all of the puzzle pieces together to make one big, exciting number.
Hey, I'm Jenn Colella and I am the director of Oklahoma here at SSTI. Directing Oklahoma has been an absolute joy for many reasons. One, it's the first musical I was ever in. I played Gertie Cummins, so that feels incredible. It's also a beautiful piece of theater. The songs are incredible. I'm excited for everyone to get to hear how beautiful the cast sounds and to hear these songs again. But it's been wonderful to do it back here in South Carolina because this is where I grew up. This is where I fell in love with theater. This is where I did Oklahoma, was here in the Low Country. So being here, I think my younger 12-year-old self is very, very proud that I'm here doing this musical now. Some of the mentors that I've relied on as I sit here in the director's seat have been Lee Silverman, who just directed me last year in Suffs on Broadway. Every time I call her, she answers director hotline. And Lonnie Price, who was the director of the first Broadway show that I ever did, Urban Cowboy. He was the first person in New York to see me and believe in me, and he continues to mentor me through today and through this process. I think SSTI is a perfect foundation for any theater artist that wants to be a professional on Broadway, off Broadway, regional theaters. We are all professionals that are working to make a huge production, and we expect them to be excellent, and they're falling right in line. They're learning from the best of the best, not only how to act and how to bring out your talent, but how to conduct themselves, and it's going to really, really make all the difference in the world when they start auditioning in the professional theater world.